everyone, it's me, John again. Welcome to another edition of JohnnyVlogs, and let me apologize in advance because this episode is going to be all over the place. We've got all kinds of stuff to cover. First of all, I am very proud to be wearing my Star Wars hat because I'm just getting back from a weekend at Disneyland where I ran the Star Wars Half Marathon. And this is the second annual Star Wars Half Marathon that they've had. I also ran the first one last year. That means I'm a legacy runner. Actually, I don't know if legacy starts until 5 years, but in any regard, very enjoyable race. Lots of cool stuff to see out there, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. They had plenty of photo opportunities. You get your picture taken with Boba Fett, Chewbacca, R2-D2, and C-3PO, BB-8. It was super, super cool. Kind of bummed there was no Kylo Ren out there, and I was really hoping that they would debut a new trailer for the Rogue, is it Rogue One or Rogue Leader? I can't remember, but the next Star Wars movie that's coming out next December, because at last year's race they showed us the trailer for Star Wars Episode 7. I think they might be holding off on that new trailer because Episode 7's still in the theaters and they don't want to wear the audience down or kind of divide their attention between the Star Wars movies. But I'm really just dying to see that new trailer. Outside of having a great time at the race, and by the way, I highly recommend if you're interested in ever running a race, if it's one of those things you think you do one time in your life, I really recommend doing it at a Disney park. They just have great resources. You get to run through the parks when they're closed, which is really cool. Like I mentioned, tons of photo opportunities. It's a lot more about the fun of getting through the distance than necessarily the speed. As a matter of fact, if you're a speed demon, if you're already running races, Disney races might not be the best for you because sometimes if you're not in the first corral, you get kind of jammed up with people that are walking in big sections. But in any case, they're always very enjoyable and super memorable. And if you're not ready for a half marathon, they also have 10K and even 5K races, so you can build yourself up if you want to. But for a Star Wars fan like me, man, awesome time. Really quick, I need to give a huge shout out to Lisa T. Thank you so much, Lisa T, for sending me the following information. She sent me a couple of news links that have sprung up recently about Dyatlov Pass. Now, if you're a Brain Scratch fan, you know that I've done a small series. If I remember right, I think I did 3 videos on the Dyatlov incident. And if you are unfamiliar with it, it is basically about a group of ski hikers that went into a very tough terrain in Russia, and they didn't come out alive. People went and found their bodies after, and the big mystery is what happened to them, because it appears that they cut themselves out of their tent and ran. In some cases they didn't have their shoes. In most cases they didn't have their shoes. In some cases they didn't even seem to be properly clothed, but they went running out into the snow and they all succumbed to the elements. So there is a new news story. This is from RT.com, which is a Russian news service. A body has been discovered by tourists in the infamous Dyatlov Pass in Russia's Ural Mountains, where 9 hikers mysteriously died in 1959. Emergency services have reportedly momentarily lost contact with the group. An unidentified body has been discovered by tourist hikers at the infamous, they almost repeat the same sentence, but a group of 9 tourists reportedly from Perm contacted emergency services overnight on Friday. Following a message from the group via satellite phone, officials lost contact with the hikers. Due to bad weather conditions, emergency groups are unable to reach the barely accessible site where the body was found. Some reports suggest it is a male of about 50 years old. So supposedly, this new group of hikers in the same area, happens to be the same count, 9 hikers together, came across a dead body, and it appears to be a 50-year-old man. Now, if that story hits you kind of weird and you think, oh, that's almost too coincidental, 9 hikers and now they've lost contact, are they going to go missing as well? Well, there is actually an update that was released a couple days after that article. This is from SputnikNews.com, and the title of it is, Government Denies Hiker Group Missing at Site of 1959 Dyatlov Pass Incident. Just to cut to the meat here, they are not missing. The group continues to head on the planned route and maintains contact, a source in the local office of the ministry told RIA Novosti. So, apparently there is still a body out there, a 50-year-old body. That part of the story seems to be true. But the part of the story about the hikers losing contact and now they're missing also, not true. According to the government, they're still in contact. They're on their route. And if you know about the Dyatlov story, when people go hiking in this type of area, they typically plan on spending a good number of days out there. They take a bunch of supplies, so it's not unheard of for them to be out there for numerous days. Now, this article, this one was posted about a week ago, and I have not seen any updates on it since, but I'm expecting within the next few days we'll probably get an update about the hikers returning and whatever other information they might have about the body that they discovered out there. More than likely, is this a hiker that went out there to visit the Dyatlov Pass incident area? Is this maybe some type of member of the press or someone doing a documentary or something? I have no idea, but it's been known as a dangerous area. I think it'd be very strange for someone to go out there completely on their own. So is there a possibility they're going to find more bodies when they get back out there? I really don't know. But that is the update on the Dyatlov Pass incident. For the rest of this Johnny Vlogs, I wanted to talk about, this topic was actually brought up by a friend of mine also named John, and he thought it would be a great topic to cover what it's like being a John. And if you don't know what that necessarily means, let me just give you a little bit of information. This is from Wikipedia. John was the most popular name given to male infants in the United States until 1924, and though its use has fallen off gradually since then, John was still the 20th most common name for boys on the Social Security Administration's list of names given in 2006. In modern times, John is the most common name in the United States. And they go as far as saying that the approximate number of people named John in the USA is 12,328,091, and the number of Johns in the USA is increasing by 104,925 each year. Now, there's a couple of aspects to that. Of course, with numbers like that, one of the most common things about being a John that kind of sucks is if you're in a large public area, like running a race, and you hear people cheering for John, and you're so used to, especially at my age, you're used to hearing John and not necessarily responding to it anymore, because several times you'll hear someone scream John and you whip your head around, oh yes, yes, and it's not you. They're not talking about you at all. And this started way back even in elementary school, because there was a high likelihood in most classes that I had that there would be another John in class. So I just kind of got desensitized to my name being called out. So it was kind of hard. What I figured when I was running the race, if anyone was cheering for John, I don't care if they were really cheering for me or not. I just imagined it was for me and used it to keep going. But there are a few other things that suck about being a John. Of course, the most common one I think that Johns would mention is that the term John also refers to a toilet, which I actually brought up a list from thesaurus.com of synonyms for John. The first one is pot, which I think they mean toilet, but interestingly, the second one is head, which I think, once again, they're talking about toilet, and it's not pothead. Johnny, latrine, lavatory, outhouse, potty, privy, which I don't know if that's another synonym for toilet. I've never heard it quite used like that. Restroom, sandbox. Do people use a sandbox as a toilet? Throne. I've heard the throne definitely talk about the toilet. Washroom, litter box, and water closet, which I think is the fancy other side of the pond way of saying bathroom or toilet. So outside of that, here in the US in particular, a John is also referred to as a customer of sex services. So it's great to hear your name just used in all these ways, and I'm telling you, the biggest effect is definitely it desensitizes you to your own name, which Maybe there could be a conspiracy theory around that. I have no idea. According to UrbanDictionary.com, a John is someone who pretends to consume copious amounts of alcohol and marijuana when in actuality not that much has been consumed. A John is known to overreact and fake being drunk and high as much as possible. I have never heard of that before. I bumped into that on searching about this topic, but quite honestly, I've never had that happen in the wild where someone has talked about, oh, you're being such a John, dude. Go drink something or go actually hit that thing before you talk about how high you are. I have no idea. But man, I am so John right now. So, outside of all that, you know what? It's a name. If I hated it that much, I could always go by, my initials or something. Call me JP from now on. It's not the end of the world. According to 7reflections.com, which lists meanings of the names, what does John mean? You guys ready to dive into this with me? Find out a little bit where I'm going to find out about myself? You are honest, benevolent, brilliant, and often inventive, full of high aspirations. Well, I can say the high aspirations thing and the honesty thing in particular are really true. I've been highly criticized of how honest I am and how blunt I can be, particularly when around certain types of large administrations or corporate environments. They really don't like the honesty thing. You are courageous, honest, determined, original, and creative. You are a leader, especially for a cause. I kind of appreciate that, and that does seem to reflect in my life. When I was younger, I was always standing up for the underdog, and of course, even if you look at my current slate of shows, and with Searchlight starting, I'm definitely trying to stand up for causes, so I definitely associate with that. Sometimes you do not care to finish what you start and may leave details to others. Definitely. That used to be a problem for me, more so in my early life. I think I've kind of worked through that, and now I'm able to bring things to completion a lot better than I used to, but in the early days, definitely. You can do well in position of authority and prospers in intellectual and professional fields. I actually did pretty well, and I gotta say, the time where I affected the most change in a company is when I was the IT manager, basically the highest technical person for the whole organization. And I had employees that loved working with me. We took on huge challenges. We quite honestly developed technology in areas where it just wasn't quite there yet. Even before smartphones, we were using Blackberries and then those Pocket PC tablets, and we were literally even developing software to hook those up, because back then the Pocket PC tablet was not web enabled. You could buy like a modem for it, but to be able to use it on the go, you could have your BlackBerry device, your Pocket PC, and with the special software we were developing with another company, you hook them up to each other, and essentially you had what most of us have in our pockets now and consider a smartphone, and that was way back in 2004, 2005. I really just enjoyed some of that work. You are frank, methodical, and believe in law, system, and order. Definitely true. Always been interested in the law ever since I was a kid. I did mock trial in high school, Defense Witness of the Year for Ventura County. Outside of that, I think that's a big reason why I talk about the issues that I do on this channel, because I'm constantly looking to our systems of law and order, and it seems like lately they're failing us on a lot of fronts, and that definitely frustrates me, and that's why I talk about this stuff so much on my shows. There's another whole paragraph here, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But this video does lead me into another thought. I would love to do a JohnnyVlogs Q&A. So here's my invitation to you. If you have any particular questions for me, almost like a Ask Me Anything, drop them in the comments below. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to pick out maybe 10 questions, maybe a little bit more depending on how much time I want to do. And then next week, I will answer them. It'll be the first official Ask John Anything, AJA. And by John, I mean me, not the toilet or the sex service customer or the guy that fakes being drunk and high. I mean this guy right here. I hope you're all having a great week. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Johnny Vlogs. Once again, I would like to thank Lisa T for the information on the Dyatlov incident, and I'll keep you guys updated on that with Johnny Vlogs. I don't think it's quite big enough for a brain scratch. Maybe a mini scratch if there's some developments that shake out where there's a lot more information to cover. But other than that, I'll just keep talking about it here on this forum. Have a great week. I will catch you on the next show on the Geek and Orcs channel. Take care.